When I was 8, I wanted to be the CEO of Apple. The only problem, I didn't even have an iPhone. So I printed out pictures of an iPhone front and back using my mom's computer and glued them onto a piece of cardboard. Then, when I was 11, I started to learn how to code. I spent hours problem solving, debugging, and celebrating every victory, like when my first game finally ran without crashing. Then, in high school, I was introduced to a girl named Amber through my coding projects. Not only was Amber a computer science student at Stanford, but she was busy helping student founders build companies and raise money. On our calls, she would tell me about the people that she was working with. Companies building WhatsApp-based apps to send money to Latin America, others using AI to reduce emergency response call times. These people weren't just building apps. They were building solutions to problems that people were facing every single day. And Amber was helping them do it. I wanted to do that too. So I started digging in. I would spend hours online researching, reading founder interviews, Googling things like cool startups to watch, and then I started reaching out to them. Days went by with silence, and then finally, one notification. Hey, let's chat. This was my first real conversation with a founder. It gave me the motivation to keep going, to send another, and then another. Finally, I was working for multiple startups, all from people that I had cold emailed. I was writing blog posts, doing market research, even leading financial aid initiatives and ambassador programs. For a long time, I thought that building something meant that you had to code. But then I learned that building something isn't just about what you make, but it's enabling others to make things too. And this is how I first considered a career in venture capital. When I got to Harvard, I started going to startup events on campus. I would look around, and it always looked the same. Crisp collars, beat-up Allbirds, and Patagonia vests, practically all men. It's not that I was excluded, but I definitely wasn't included. It was like I was standing outside the circle that just never opened. Whenever there was another girl in the room, we would always notice each other. Then I started to think, why weren't there other women here? And here's the truth. Women make up only 9% of venture capitalists, 8% of firm partners, and 7% of board seats at firms. And on the funding side, even worse. Female founders receive only 2% of venture capital dollars. And that number's not increasing, it's shrinking. Think about what that means. That question of where were the women became impossible to ignore. And so, just as I had been reaching out to founders, I started to reach out to female venture capitalists, not to get a job, but to ask them about their experiences and how they were able to break into the field, a field that wasn't built for us. I spoke to women who were the first checks into category-defining companies that you and I all know today. And then something happened. When I went back to these events, the women that I was speaking to were asking me the very same questions that I had just weeks earlier. How could I break into venture capital? What can I be reading? And so I shared with them all of the resources that I had listed and shared with them the contact information of the woman who kindly spoke with me. It started to feel like I was building phones again in my room. But I still felt like there was more I could be doing. And so one night, when I should have been studying for my math exam the next morning, I made a website. Just a simple one question: are you a young woman interested in venture capital? I went to sleep thinking some people would respond, maybe I would meet some new girls to go to these events with. And when I woke up, the post had hundreds of thousands of views and hundreds of comments. Young women from across the world were reaching out. They didn't know, I didn't have something, but they wanted to be a part of the idea. They believed in the same mission as I did. So I started with what I could. I made a Slack channel, I got on some Zoom calls, I asked people all day, every day, who they were, what I could do for them. I started with the programs that I thought would make a difference. I started with workshops and panels, mentorship programs. I saw what worked and built on it, and when something fell flat, I iterated. And then it stopped just being me. Girls from all across the country started stepping up and leading initiatives along with me. Then I had a team of amazing women who were helping me build this project. Girls into VC is about creating a movement, creating a pipeline. It's about making sure that this field, which changes the future of business, technology, and innovation, isn't missing out on the population, and half the population. Girls into VC now has thousands of members across more than 60 countries. It has members who have gone through, hundreds of members who have gone through our programming. But I didn't have an idea. This didn't start on a skyrise tower in New York City. It started with some Zoom calls. It started with a Slack channel. And it started with a question of where were the women? Oftentimes people think you always need something figured out before you get started. But the truth is I didn't. So take the first step, send the first email, start the first conversation. Because sometimes the most important room isn't the one you walk into, it's the one you build. Thank you.